We are MythVision. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sick and tired of cults taking advantage of people over and over. Mind manipulation. They're controlling their every action. There's a guilt. They have to separate from family. All their money goes into the pockets of these people. And so one of the biggest cults in America that really got my attention is Scientology. And today I have Karen de la Carriere joining me, and she was an ex-Scientologist, but not just anyone. We're talking, she went all the way to the top. She knows the inside. She was there with L. Ron Hubbard. She knows the character of David Miscavige. She knows the dirt on these people. And today we're going to hear some of that. I don't even know what we're getting into. So Karen, please tell us something of a crazy story you told me that you have.
Okay, will do. Derek, dearest, it's not one of the biggest cults. I have to correct you that it's a dying cult with 25,000 members. So I don't want to give it that much glory. Now, it's a more sinister cult than most cults. It's a more evil cult. In fact, what we're going to cover is some Scientology wickedness. Evil, mafia gangster type evil. So not to combat you with your good words. I just try to give it the glory of being big.
I appreciate it, and I'm learning. Please tell me.
People leave in droves, and they're thinning out, and they're diminishing. They are not big. Anyway, the first evil story I wanted to tell you is of the valiant mayor of Clearwater. He served in the military 28 years. He had Mexican heritage. His name was Mayor Cezares, Gabriel Cezares. And Scientology bought the Fort Harrison. The title was United Churches of Florida, that kind of bought it from Southern Land Development System. These were the thing is, when Mayor Cezares looked up these entities, they did not exist. They did not register. You know, when you're an entity, you register with the government. And so the first red flag Mayor Cezares got was, there was no United Churches of Florida. And the Fort Harrison in the 70s was the heart and soul of Clearwater. The bars there, the restaurants there. People like the Rolling Stones came and lunched by the pool. I can send you all the pictures if you want. It was the meeting place. So, and it was in those days a Jack Tar Hotel. Jack Tar was a franchise of different hotels. So some group coming in calling themselves United Churches of Florida, who were buying it from, there was some Southern Land Development, none of this, it was fraud. It was absolute fraud. So he's the mayor of Clearwater. From day one, the entry was done surreptitiously and with fraud. They entered Clearwater on the wrong track. They sensed they needed to be in hiding. And Scientology's name was not really mud as it is in this day and age. No, they had to hide. They couldn't just be up front and say it's Scientology.
Oh, wow.
So the mayor and Scientology were not the best of friends. And the first post in comments I'm going to post is the different programs, one after another, to destroy Mayor Casares for being an opponent to them.
So they found out he was an opponent. They found out. How quick did they find out? And did he know that they found out?
Yeah, he spoke up. He spoke up against the fraud of United Churches and Southern Land. He spoke right up.
Wow.
Their dishonesty. One of the programs they did was to try and get some marriage certificate in Mexico where you can buy a birth certificate. You can just give some nice cash. And then they were going to publish it that he was a bigamist. Look, he's already married in Mexico. This was all a fake certificate. They did program after program after program to make him look like a crook.
Oh my gosh, the level that these people go.
Yes. You see, Derek, this is not just any old cult. This is a cult that will go anywhere to destroy their enemy. They named Mayor Casares as an enemy. Now, one thing many people don't know about the cult is that they have travel agency privileges. This means they can log on as a travel agent and look at the manifest and see who's flying, who's on an airplane flying where. I mean, their intelligence division have total, utter access to flight information. Do you know of any other church that?
No.
Do you know of any others that pose as a travel agent?
No. No, and I can't even begin. Yeah.
They found out Mayor Casares was going to Washington, D.C. for a mayor's conference or some kind of conference. And he was supposed to meet a reporter in the lobby, and the reporter showed up and didn't really get into it and left. Meanwhile, a kind of pretty nice girl called Sharon Thomas showed up. And she seemed to have a shine on the mayor. He was kind of coming on to him. And, you know, when a man is out in some hotel hundreds of miles from home, it gets tempting.
Yeah.
And she said, why don't we eat? And why don't we have some fun? And she then lured him. And they were driving in the car. And it looked like she slammed on the brakes and said, oh my God, we hit someone. And she said, I'm not going to stop. And she drove on. So now the mayor is in a hit and run incident. He thinks, he believes. Sharon drives on. And then, I hope I'm getting the facts completely right, but he calls his office and says, look, I'm still thinking about it. I think we may have killed someone. You were in the car with me and you agreed to just hit and run. So now the mayor is in a blackmailable position.
Oh, my. And they recorded this conversation.
Absolutely.
So this guy doesn't even know. Did they hit someone? Are we not sure? It
was all drilled and billed. The cult of Scientology, that reporter that was supposed to make him come to the right place where Sharon Thomas, she worked for the Guardian office. The girl who was coming on to him, who was pretending maybe they'll...
Right.
All set up. The cult of Scientology set it up. They drilled it. And all of this was only found out because the FBI raided the church and towed away 250 boxes, and all their internal communication was discovered. There was no injured man, but the mayor was made to believe that he participated in running over someone.
Let me ask you this. That recording of the mayor, like kind of confessing being involved with this girl and this trip and this hit and run, did the church, like, do we know if the church said, listen, we have this information on you, this is what we need you to do? Or did they just go public with it to embarrass him to get him out of office? Like, how did that go about? Do you know?
I don't know all the nuances, but what I just told you is the actual programs devising all this, see, when the FBI confiscated all these internal memos, many activists demanded freedom of, there's a law where you can get any government document. It's called Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. And slowly, these memos got dribbled out. That was a very good question you asked.
Yeah, because I don't know it, and maybe you don't. Maybe it's out there, but the point you're making is well put. They know for a fact that Scientology is manipulating, and they actually are doing criminal acts like this. This is not like I want to get your cousin to like me, so I'm going to lie and say I'm dating this other girl or something. These are high governmental political figures in power.
Yes.
And you got to imagine, how high are they going with this? And what do we not know? Have they learned their lesson and they're still doing stuff like this, but we just don't know about it? Because they stopped having paper copies now.
Absolutely. Because Hubbard, in these issues for the Guardian's Office, reincarnation is OSA, Office of Special Affairs. And our Office of Special Affairs do everything under the sun to take out enemies. You see, this is what is almost obscene about the cult. They will do anything and everything to take out an enemy. They will. They will manufacture evidence. They will cross the line. And there's something, I don't know what better word to use than obscene. It's so diabolical. And all of this is done to protect the good name and survival of Scientology.
This is amazing. Their entire L. Ron Hubbard philosophy is kamikaze 101. They are literally destroying themselves by doing this very point that is necessary if you're going to follow L. Ron Hubbard. Destroy your enemies at all costs. Really what you're doing is just self-destructing, because this dying cult, like you said at the beginning, is only shooting itself in the foot. Instead of reforming it and changing it into something newer, something better with better policies, they're still going to keep on going, and they're just going to implode. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, this incident was done to gaslight him. Do you understand the term gaslight?
Yep.
It's psychological warfare. It's mentally tangling with his mind to make him so jazzed up, so constantly in a fear of what will be revealed next. You can't think clearly. You can't act. You can only make correct decisions when you're clear-headed and you know what's going on. This kind of psychological warfare has been written by Hubbard. And if it's written by Hubbard, it's biblical. Absolutely, you do what the boss said to do.
Oh, man. This thing's doomed from the start. Wow. Wow. I mean, the fact, I can't imagine what we don't know. I mean, this is why I have you on the channel, because you're not only aware of this, we've got other stuff we're going to touch on in upcoming videos. You talk about IRS, your husband knows about this stuff, like the tax evasion, everything. This thing, how it slipped through the cracks this long is beyond me. But we're exposing that and letting other people know. Is there any final words on this particular subject?
Let me finish this off with even.
Okay.
When I came out of Scientology, it was very loud, big announcement. I got 500 email in one night from all around the world. Karen, you remember me? You know what? No. Scientology decided to do a hit on me. And they anonymously called the FBI.
On you?
On me. I got all the documents I can. And said, she's trafficking in children for underage sex.
No.
Yeah, that's what they did. These I've made videos on and stuff. So yeah, that was the accusation. Now, when a government agency gets something to do with children, they have to follow through and investigate.
Right.
Children.
Yeah.
But can you imagine the lunacy? I was a cluster. I worked for them nonstop. I had had all the accolades you can imagine. And overnight, I became a trafficker of underage sex. This was the accusation.
Yeah.
So I got all these phone calls. And the person that they said I was trafficking for was my CPA. And he called me and he said, you know, the FBI visited me and they said there was an anonymous voicemail, anonymous to the FBI office that I was trafficking children for my CPA for underage sex. And he said, the FBI were a little cynical. They sat down and they said, does Karen de la Carriere have any enemies?
At least they asked that question.
Oh my God. She just came out of the cult of Scientology 2 weeks ago, very publicly. And the FBI literally had body language. They heard this and they kind of, my CPA Bill, they said, case closed. That was the end of it. They never even called me. They closed the case. They are so educated in the maliciousness and setting up an enemy. They know the game so well that they didn't proceed for. They never even came to see me. They never even came to interview me. Once Bill told them, Karen came out publicly against the Church of Scientology. They knew the anonymous phone call that I was trafficking in underage children for sexual intercourse. That was the end of that, because the cult of Scientology is known by government agencies to do despicable, hideous, hateful things, even though they claim they're a religion, religious cloaking, just to attack an enemy. That's the phenomenon of this little.
My gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is crazy, honestly. And we've got more coming up. Make sure you guys check out, the description for the details. Go subscribe to her channel. Her husband's also going to come on in the future here. We've got more stories with you. Let me know what you think about this. I think this is absolutely mob. I mean, this is unreal. And the money they have. So if you guys please help support us in any way, we'll keep exposing these things, being a free voice, letting you know and be aware of these cults. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate you.
Guys, please support the channel. Do a little Patreon, send a donation, keep it alive. There's no funding for the channel other than the fans and audience of you that watched. Derek, go, go, go.
Thank you.